Hello and welcome to another episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. My name's Jacob, and today we're doing episode 2 of the AVR Kaiju Podcast. Today we have Harold of the FigureMania Show. Harold is a YouTuber and collector who does figure reviews and covers various local toy fairs and events, as well as doing some genuinely outstanding toy photography. I met Harold through our mutual interest in creating miniatures for our figure displays. Thank you so much for being on the show, Harold. I'm very
Thank you
pleased
for
to
having
have
me,
you.
bud.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I can't, I'm feeling blessed to be alive, and I'm feeling very blessed that I live in Taiwan, far away from all the craziness that's happening and things. So I'm super happy. I'm super blessed, I got a kick-ass wife.
Oh,
I
that's
got
awesome,
kick-ass
man.
dogs, and yeah, I couldn't be happier, dude.
I'm very happy to hear that, and I'm very
Yeah.
happy to have you on this podcast.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you for having me, dude. Yeah.
oh, it's a pleasure. To kick off with, what have you been up to lately, and what are your plans with your upcoming stuff on your YouTube and with your toy photography?
Let's start with YouTube. In
Yeah.
terms of like YouTube, I don't have a plan per se. Okay, like whatever comes down the pipeline, that's what I will do. Okay, so but there are times where I just don't feel like doing it because I just feel like I really have nothing to say on it. But
I've been there too, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the thing though is like for me, I like to think that I'm in a unique position because I'm an artist. So the one thing that I do that I contribute to the community is my
Yeah.
toy photography. In terms of like Godzilla figures and stuff, like I haven't seen anybody else. I mean, there's lots of people that does, reviews for Godzilla figures and stuff like that.
There
But
really
to
are up there.
use and do toy photography and stuff like that, I went that route. You know what I mean? I went more the artistic route. You know what I mean? Like for me, like okay, I'll admit as a reviewer, I'm not that. I personally feel I'm not that great. There's a lot of other people out there that can go into the art, into the details of the figure and stuff like that. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What I like is the visuals. You know what I mean? And I let the visuals of the figure speak for itself. So that's what I try doing with my toy photography. So that's why I do a gallery. So like whenever a new figure comes in, I do the toy photography first. So I spend a little bit
Okay.
of time with the figure. And then after that, then I just give a quick review and things. I don't like to go into depth, and I don't like speaking for a long time. You know what I mean? I just like to be in and out, present to the audience. Okay, this is it. This is my experience with it. I think it's great and stuff. But your experience might not be the same. Like your outlook on a figure might not be the same, and that's completely fine. Now I'm going to show you my toy photography. For those of you that like toy photography that have been following me because of it, here's what I have, and that's it.
I
You
think
know what I
that's
mean?
a really great way of doing things, but because
Yeah,
so many people just kind of they just rely on the figures themselves to kind of carry them through. But what you do is you add your own spark to it, and I've
yeah,
that's what I really appreciate about your stuff. And
yeah.
that's something I've kind of been trying to do with some of the custom work that I've been trying to kind of do here, and some of
You got
the
to do more of that because that's
yeah,
unique. You
yeah,
got to do more of that.
and
Like
even the
also like
model
for me,
buildings and stuff like that.
yeah, definitely. Because like for me, I mean, like I like mostly doing like the things that I put up on my channel. It's things that I like personally. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for me, like I don't have the the resources. Well, I mean, I do have the resources, but I would just get into a lot of trouble here at home. Like if I spend money weekly or monthly on actual figures that I don't really want, but just to
Yeah,
sustain the channel. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
That's not what I want to do. You know what I mean? So like whatever I have is because I want to take it and I want it. So I'll show it to you and that's it. But I mean, kudos to to other people that they get every figure under the sun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I I can't do that. You know
No,
what I mean?
there's
So
more
like,
than enough channels who do that already.
yeah, and like for me too, like also like money wise too. I mean, you know, I make good money. I'm a teacher full time, and
Oh, that's
I
good to
also
hear.
have my own school part time. So I make good money and stuff like that. But like I live in a culture here in Taiwan where like collecting is really looked as an oddity. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
okay.
then like, you know, like like my wife, she's tolerant of like what I do, but
That's really good to hear. 'Cause
but there's a big but to that.
but
Okay,
yeah,
so for
there
you guys
always
watching
is.
out there, all right, remember this: happy wife, happy life. Okay, you have to make your wife happy first. Okay, and then once you do that, then everything else comes in. So that's what I've been able to do. That's why I can get these guys. I can buy, you know, expensive X
Yeah.
Plus figures and things like that. It's because, you know, I do my part, you know what I mean? And I prioritize, you know what I mean? That's the thing. You got to prioritize things at home, you know what I mean?
Well,
The home.
congratulations, man. You've done more than most could manage. That's
Yeah.
always an ongoing challenge, I find.
Yeah. So I mean that's the way I approach it, you know what I mean? But like also like I just don't want to like I like Transformers, but I don't want to
Yeah.
buy every Transformer out there, you know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
wrestling figures, but I don't want to buy every wrestling figure out there, you know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
you know, even like with X Plus figures, I don't want to buy every X Plus figure there is, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I just want the ones that I want, you know what I mean? Even with the SH Monster Arts and things, you know what I mean? Because like, you know, I like Godzilla, but like I want the other characters too, so I can do toy photography with them.
Yeah.
And stuff, you know what I mean? So
I'm
that's the
I'm
thing. Like
I'm like
I
that
keep
as
it very
well. I
simple.
there's so many franchises and different things that I really love and would love to get all the figures of and all this, but
Yeah,
I try to stick to Godzilla,
yeah,
and I try to just get the figures like you say that you really want. For whatever reason, I tend to just get overdo it sometimes, but at the same time, I still try to. But it's
yeah.
yeah, I get what you mean.
I got DC figures, I got Marvel Legend figures and stuff. You
Mm.
know what I mean? But like they're few. You know what I mean? In comparison to Godzilla figures, they're very few. Like I like Optimus. Like of all the Transformers, Optimus Prime is my favorite. I
Yeah,
got a collection of Optimus Primes over there. You know what I mean? But like I yeah, there was a time
just
where
to
I was
have
like,
something of it, you know?
exactly. There was a time where I was like deep in collecting, like when I lived in Canada in Toronto,
Oh
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But coming to Taiwan, I had to let all that go, you know. So and then it's taken me 10 years to build what I have now,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
So yeah, so
What
that's the
So that kind of brings me to some of the questions I had for you. Out of all these things that you could be collecting,
hmm.
why Godzilla? And like what first got you into Godzilla?
Okay, so when I was a kid, 5 years old maybe,
Yeah.
early 80s, you know, like
Okay.
I love dinosaurs, you know. I think for most
That's
Godzilla
always the
fans,
case.
the dinosaurs is like the gateway, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then later you discover Godzilla. But for me, what I saw the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla
Ah,
cartoon,
I haven't watched that
okay?
yet actually.
Really? Well,
No.
it doesn't hold up, to be honest. It doesn't hold up. But at the
Yeah.
time, I was like, oh my God, it's a freaking gigantic dinosaur with superpowers.
Yeah.
You know? Because Godzilla could shoot eye beams just like Superman. He
Uh-huh.
could, you know what I mean? And then like he had like this very quirky personality. There was Godzuki and things, you know
I've
what I
heard of
mean? Yeah,
Godzuki.
Godzilla, you know? And actually my very first Godzilla figure was the plush toy. They had a Godzilla plush
Oh
toy, the
really?
Hanna-Barbera
Uh-huh.
plush toy. And I found it at a dollar store in my neighborhood, right? And I like held on to that thing, you know. I was like, oh my God, Godzilla is my very first Godzilla thing, anything, right?
Wow.
Eventually, I saw on TV, it was on a Saturday night, King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh cool. Uh-huh.
My very first live action Godzilla movie, and I stumbled on it by accident, right? Because I was flipping through the channels, and then I see, what is that, right? And then like I knew right away that was King Kong because like you know it was the English dub. Oh, King Kong, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. And then I was hearing Godzilla is in it, right? Oh, Godzilla! I can't wait to see Godzilla, right? And then all of a sudden I see the 62, the 62 Godzilla. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's Godzilla? I was just, that can't be Godzilla. I mean, I had my plush toy right in my hand. I go, that looks nothing like
Oh,
Godzilla. That
really?
can't be Godzilla, right? So then I watched the movie. It was early on in the movie that I caught it. It's
Yeah.
like when they brought Kong back to the mainland from that point.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had fixed in my head that Godzilla was a good guy because in the cartoon he's a good guy, right?
Yeah.
But then like, oh wait a minute, he's not a good guy here. He's a bad
Yeah,
guy,
definitely not
right?
in that film.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? So like, I was totally confused. Like, why Godzilla looks like that? Why is he black, not green? Why does he sound weird? At first I thought he sounded weird.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
like the Hanna-Barbera was like, roar. It was like that, right? His roar. But then when I heard the roar for the first time, I was like, whoa, what the heck? And then it wasn't until the next film that I saw, I was like, yeah, Godzilla's fucking awesome. It
Oh,
was
what was that film?
that was Godzilla versus Megalon.
Oh, I love
That was
that
my
film.
second Godzilla movie that I saw. Like from the time that I saw King Kong versus Godzilla, I was like, oh, there's got to be more movies, right? So
Yeah.
then like I just looked like in Toronto, where I grew up. This is like before the internet and all that. You know what I mean? So like
It must have
there
been
was
really difficult to find that stuff like that.
it was difficult at the time, and like compare like Canada compared to the United States. Yeah, the states got everything. Canada,
Really?
we barely get anything at all. You know what I mean? And also too, like I didn't have any friends that liked Godzilla like I did. You
Yeah.
know, so there was nobody for me to bounce off of. To to communicate with about Godzilla or anything like that. I actually got ridiculed in school by teachers and
Oh, seriously?
students alike for being a Godzilla fan. You know what I
That
mean?
really
So,
sucks, man.
oh
I
fuck,
didn't
man!
have
I
anybody
hated my elementary
else
years.
who also was interested in that either, and to
Yeah.
this day, only people online.
For me, like I grew up in a Spanish-speaking household. Like my
Ah,
parents were from
okay.
Colombia, South America.
Yeah.
So they migrated to Canada in the mid '70s, and I was born in '77 and things, right? And at home I learned Spanish, and at
Mm-hmm.
school I learned English. And like the school that I went to was basically an all Italian school. You know what I
Oh, all
mean?
right.
And like I'm just speaking from my experience. I mean, I did not have a good experience in my elementary years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So but now me being a teacher myself, thinking back to like all the teachers that I met, like if I could meet them again, I would tell them straight out, like you have no business being a teacher.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah.
It does sound
So
like that. That is
yeah,
sucks that you were in that situation, man.
yeah, you know what I mean. But you know what? Like I didn't let that the I can understand and see like where a lot of people feel the way they do. They grow up with these things inside them and stuff like that. That's because it starts there. Like it's cultivated there. You know what I mean? And then like for some people they're not able to grow beyond that. You know what I mean? For me, I was
Uh-huh.
very fortunate. You know what I mean? I was able to grow beyond that, to grow beyond other people's expectations. You know what I mean? Because at the thing though is like in those years, oh, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that,
Yeah.
you're gonna be that, blah 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 blah. So then, like that, for a lot of people, that gets in them, and that just that's why people fall into depression, people fall into drugs
Yeah.
and stuff like that, turn to crime and stuff like that because they have this image about themselves, this dark image about themselves, not because they put it there, it's because somebody else put it there.
Very
You know?
true.
So I could have been one of those people, but thankfully for me, I mean, you know what I mean, I pushed on, you know what I mean? And today I'm a very happy person. I'm much
Yeah, it
happier.
looks like life turned out really good for you, man, and it's
So
really
yeah,
awesome that you found a way to, express yourself and to collect really openly and do that stuff, because Like you were saying earlier, there is kind of a stigma towards that in a lot of parts of the world, and people have
Yeah,
various
I mean,
ideas of it.
10 years ago when I came to Taiwan, that was pretty much of a stigma, you
Yeah.
know? But nowadays, fast forward 10 years now, we got Marvel and all that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, man, like, Taiwan, in terms of like collecting and stuff like that, I mean, it's nowhere close to Japan,
Yeah.
but it's on that path. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So there's way more people collecting now. I've met like there's a ton of people here that collect like Gundams, Godzillas, and stuff like that, and I've met them all online and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So there's a very strong collecting culture here now that's just more open. You know what I mean? Which is the great thing. So.
That's good to hear. How is
Mhm.
like the Godzilla fandom and collecting there specifically? Because here in Australia we have this weird thing where even though we have a large percentage of the population that does come from Japan and a lot of culture here, like anime is quite popular, and again the whole Marvel and all that is very popular, but Godzilla just seeps under the radar for so many people. I don't
That's too
know.
bad. Yeah, I mean, here in Taiwan, anything you want, you can get,
Oh, that's
basically.
good.
I'm a block and a half away. My buddy owns a toy store, and
Oh,
you've
cool.
probably seen it. Like
I
you've
saw a
probably seen
video where
my
you did
Instagram post.
in a toy store. Yeah.
Yes. So he gets stuff for me. You know what I mean? He's my connection and stuff.
Ah, neat.
There's another friend that I have that owns a toy store too. So I get stuff through him. So like whenever something like, the pre-orders haven't been released yet, but I tell that guy I want that, that, that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's done.
Oh,
So
that must be amazing.
I don't have to worry. I know I'm gonna get it.
Because
You
it's
know what I mean?
so annoying fiddling through all the websites you surf through all the different places online, and right now there's so many restrictions. Like I'm still waiting for my 19 Yuji Sakai 84 X Plus.
Um,
It's been stuck in. I pre-ordered that thing on day one. It's been stuck in
yeah,
Japan
yeah,
since it was released because I don't want to pay more money to have it shipped here in the super fancy postage because it
yeah,
already became too expensive with the conversion rate of currency and whatnot. And
sure.
so, yeah, it's good that you got
Yeah.
that stuff going on, man.
Oh yeah, like for me, I mean, I live in a heavenly place.
Yeah.
In terms of collecting, yes. I mean that's the thing. And then like I posted on my Instagram, I pre-ordered everything. You know what I
Nice.
mean? And then people are like, what the fuck? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? And then I have to explain the whole spiel because listen, I got people, I got connections, they got connections and stuff like
Jeez.
that. So then
I gotta
that's it.
start talking to the people who work at my local toy stores. That's really cool. I wanted to ask how did you get into figure collecting in general, like initially?
So even in Canada, I love collecting toys. I mean, I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I knew people, but
Yeah.
looking back, they weren't friends. You know what
Oh,
I
that's a
mean?
shame, man.
So then, like Transformers was big for me.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, Transformers, and the Super Friends. They had the superpowers and stuff, the superpower collection and stuff like that. Superman, Batman,
Yeah.
and things. And like I was heavily in, even now, comic books, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I love collecting comic books and action figures, Superman, Batman, Hulk, Spider-Man. And then in my neighborhood there was a comic shop, Red Nails. I'll never forget it.
Okay.
And I would go there every now and then. It was just walking distance from my house, and then I would just save up my money for a figure that I wanted or whatever. You know what I mean? And then I would get that way, and then my collection grew. And
Yeah.
then coming to Taiwan was a difficult decision for me. But the thing was, because my father he suffered a stroke.
Oh, did
uh,
he?
yeah, he suffered a severe stroke that left him in a hospital for 9 years.
Oh gosh.
And at the time, like I was pursuing an acting career in Toronto,
Oh
and I was
really?
getting a lot of work and things. I was appearing in a lot of commercials and stuff like that. And I wanted to go to Hollywood because I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to go out to LA, do some auditions in front of like Hollywood agents and stuff like that. And then they were like, "Oh, you're really good. Do you have a green card?" No. Oh, well, get a green card first, and then come talk to us. I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? So like
Uh-huh.
to jump through all those hoops and things. You know what I mean? And at the time, I remember it was Arnold Schwarzenegger that was the governor of California.
Yeah.
And he was making it difficult for foreign talent to migrate into the states, especially
Uh-huh.
California, because he wanted to keep the production, everything in California. To my not to my
Okay.
memory, as far as I remember. So it was just difficult, you know what I mean? So I would have had to pay a ton of money for a lawyer to, just to try and do the paperwork and stuff like that. And that was just money that I just did not have,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
man.
And I had a sick father in a hospital bed and things, you know what I mean? So I had to pay for his stay. Like the government helped for that, you know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
and then like honestly, like my life was going nowhere in Canada, you know what I mean? So then, and then I was like, oh, maybe it was a cousin of mine that she was in Korea,
Uh-huh.
that teaching in Korea. She was there for a year and then came back. So then that lit a light bulb in me. Oh, why don't I go overseas? I've never gone outside of Toronto. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
okay.
I've always wanted to see what it's like on the other side of the world.
Mm.
I'm gonna do this. I got to do this for me. You know what I mean? And then my mother, she was like, you know what? Do this. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to get the hell out of here. You know, she told
Yeah.
me, I want you to go live your life. Don't worry about your dad and things like that. You go live your life. You know, and that's exactly what I did. Like, I told my dad, it was hard for me. You know, telling my dad, he's laying in his hospital bed. Listen, I'm gonna, I'm gonna try and start over somewhere else. You know, and he
Mm-hmm.
understood. You know, and for the next couple years, I would come back to Canada every
Yeah.
year, to visit my dad. Like my mom, 6 months after I left Canada, she died.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah.
Jeez.
So it's on it like the journey here wasn't without its pains. You know what I mean? I went through a lot of pain. I went through a lot of dark times. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like my mom died, my grandmother died, my father died. They all died, and I was away. You know, and but then you know a light came into my life, and that was my wife. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And then everything turned around and things. You know what I mean? I married her and things, and
Yeah.
and I've done a lot. I've accomplished more in my life here than I did anywhere else. I just needed to get out and then just search for a new perspective on life.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I did. So
I'm glad to hear that you did that, and sorry that the journey there had so many hurdles, man. That sounds
yeah,
really tough.
yeah. But
But
you know what? In the end, it's all worth it and things. You know what I mean? Like I know my parents are up in heaven. They're smiling down at me. You know what I
mm,
mean? But like all they wanted was for me to be happy, to have a happy life, and I have it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, that's the thing.
How what is the main thing that you found in Taiwan that was sort of just a different way of life than you had back in Toronto that really helped your life move forward?
Basically, like when I first came to Taiwan and I got off that airplane, I kind of felt that I was there to stay, that I
Oh,
was there
really?
to start over,
Uh-huh.
And at the time my mother was alive, and like I would call her every week. I go, and she would tell me, listen, if you're happy there, stay there. She said,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I was like, yeah, okay. And but like I still had a lot of baggage in my mind that I had to just try and overcome. Like I needed a paradigm shift in myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in Canada, like for a lot of people, they don't make a lot of money. I mean, I worked
Uh-huh.
three jobs, and it was never enough. I paid bills, all kinds. It's just expensive and stuff like
Oh,
that.
dear.
But at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time, too, I wasn't smart with my money. Admittedly, I wasn't.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't until I met my wife. She taught me how to be smart with my money and things. Because before that, I was just blowing everything. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah.
partying and stuff like that, chasing the girls and stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Because the cost of living in Taiwan is very cheap, actually.
Oh,
Like,
that's good to hear.
yeah, it's incredible. Like you
And
can live like a king here,
from what
basically.
I've seen, you got a really cool place where you can go up on the roof and everything, where you're doing
Yes,
your videos.
that's right. Like if you like a small apartment, a small 1-bedroom apartment with a kitchen in Canada, that would cost about $1,000, $2,000 Canadian. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which is, oh my God, you know. Here in
And
Taiwan, you're paying less than $300 American for that.
uh-huh.
Less. So it's like, my God, and like the cost of the food and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just it's so convenient. There's 7-Elevens everywhere.
Oh, that's
You can
good.
pay your bills at 7-Eleven. You don't have to go to the bank and stuff like that. Go
Oh,
to
really?
7-Eleven, you get
Uh-huh.
it done there. So yeah, it's yeah. I've had it's amazing. I've I was destined to come here actually, you know what I mean? So I'm really happy that I don't want to leave this place. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's super awesome to hear, man. That was really great to hear, but let's get into back into some of the more kaiju related stuff.
Awesome, cool.
What got you into doing figure photography specifically?
It was around when Godzilla 2014 came around. Okay.
A big year for the franchise. Yeah.
Yes. That's the year that I got back into Godzilla collecting.
Ah,
Okay.
I've heard a lot
Because
of people had that as well. Yeah.
yeah, because prior to that, the very first SH Monster Arts Godzilla that was released, my
Mm-hmm.
wife gave that to me
Oh,
as a
really?
birthday present.
Wow.
I still have it, you know? And I was like, oh my God, like, I remember seeing this, like, oh my God, it's a fucking Godzilla. And it looks just like the movie, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I remember the
And
first time I
because
saw a
prior to that,
Monster
like,
Arts figure too.
I had a Bandai Godzilla, that I
Mm-hmm.
brought from Canada. But, it doesn't look anything like the
Oh,
movie, right?
absolutely. It's a whole other world of those
Yeah.
things.
And then when I saw this SH Monster Arts figure, I was like, oh my God, I must have that Godzilla. So my wife, she got me that Godzilla for
Yeah.
Christmas, you know? But I stayed with that Godzilla. I had no idea that, SH Monster Arts was starting a line or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these other figures that came between that Godzilla and 2014, all those figures I completely missed out on because I had
Seriously.
no idea that
Oh.
that was going on. You know what I mean? Because I
Uh-huh.
just wasn't connected at the
Yeah.
time. So then when 2014 came around and I saw pictures, oh, there's a Godzilla, there's an SH Monster Arts
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla. But then I found out, oh, there's all these other figures. Like, where the hell was I? You know? But I wasn't connected with the fandom at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I just started, oh, there are Godzilla groups. Oh, this person likes Godzilla. This person I started discovering everything. You know what I mean? And I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea because I didn't actively look for it. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, I've been a Godzilla fan my entire life, but like, I had no idea that this world existed,
Yeah.
right? And because it's just me myself. Like, I had no idea, right? And then uh, I started seeing pictures from John Ruffing, mykaiju.com,
Mm-hmm.
John Ruffing. And I was like, wow, look at those pictures. I mean, they were like he shoots X plus, right?
Yeah. I've
And
seen
I was
some of
like,
his
I
stuff.
was looking at like those. I was like, man, look at that Godzilla figure. Like, but then when I was like doing research, like how much? I was like, holy shit, it costs that much, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa. But then I wanted to get into toy photography.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be like the John Ruffing of SH Monster. It's basically
Yeah.
John Ruffing is John Ruffing, but he mostly does
X Plus.
X-Plus, you know. So I started researching. I started discovering groups and stuff like that, like of toy photography, and I discovered that there's a ton of people out there that was doing toy photography and things, right? But no one. I mean, there were people that were doing toy photography before me with SH Monster Arts, right?
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't groundbreaking. Like in my
Yeah.
opinion, it
Yeah.
wasn't groundbreaking, right? But I wanted to be like John Ruffing, but with SH Monster
Mm.
Arts.
And then you developed your very unique style, which is
That's
so
right.
recognizable with those really the sunsets and the sort of intense colors and the really crisp details, and it's all really
Yes.
good
Well,
stuff.
before that, like I started researching online toy photography, but I had no photography skills whatsoever. I didn't even have a DSL camera.
Oh, really? All from
So then
scratch.
yeah. So then I stumbled online, learned toyphotography.com.
Mm-hmm.
So whoa! So I went into it, and it's by an Australian guy. He lives in
Ah,
Australia.
cool.
Okay, his name is Chris Webb, and he has a YouTube channel. We shoot toys. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
his website is learntoyphotography.com. Right. So he had a course. Like I contacted him and things. Like I was looking at all his material. He had, these little tutorials, but then he had a course that he was going to launch. I was like one of the first people to contact him, and he goes, okay, why don't you? So he gave, I paid, I paid what I paid and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that, and then he goes, go through this and let me know what you think, right? And it was through that man I learned about aperture, I learned about shutter speed, I learned about lighting. The most important thing, right? Lighting,
Definitely. Definitely.
how to add color to the compositions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was through that course that I learned everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned like the foundation. From there, sorry about that.
That's all
From
right.
there, that's when I just expanded my skills, right? Because what is expanding my skills? Oh, sorry about that.
That happens to me all the time in
Yeah.
videos. I have to cut it out. Yeah.
What expanded my skills really was being part of articulated comic book art, basically the ACBA group on Facebook, right?
Okay.
Because it's the world's largest group for toy photographers, and there's a lot of talented people there,
Oh, I'll
right?
have to
So,
check that one
I,
out.
oh man, like it's if you're yeah, like the best toy photographers go there.
Mm.
Okay. And I got to know other people too, like Akira Joe. Like he was doing toy photography with SH Monster Art, so I was looking at what he was doing and stuff like that. Simon Hill, another great toy photographer that I admire, and there's so many others,
Yeah.
and then from there, like if you look back on my portfolio, like see like my first couple shots till now, there's
Mm-hmm.
just a night and day difference. You know what I mean? So from there, I started just building my skills. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned from the course is to look at art, right? To look like if you like, for example, for me, Godzilla. Look at a lot of Godzilla art photos, pictures, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Right? So then I slowly started collecting a whole bunch of Godzilla books, art books, and stuff like that, right? And I study the compositions, the colors, where's the light source coming from, and things. You know what I mean? So what's happening with the light? So I really paid attention to all of those little details, right? And also too, like how the positioning of learning how to layer your
Mm-hmm.
photo,
To
right,
add
to
depth
give it
to
that
it, and
depth,
yeah.
exactly, in things, right? So I slowly learned all that, and it was a definite journey, you know what I mean? And
You've
I
definitely come a long way, and you've
yeah,
pioneered so much of that.
yeah. And
What?
then like when I would sorry about that. When I
Go
look at
ahead.
a picture, right? I study it for a while. I was like, how can I bring this to life? What can I
Mm-hmm.
do to make this tangible? Because one of the things that I wanted was to keep everything tangible,
Yeah.
real. Okay, um, to honor the traditional
Yeah,
tokusatsu. Right?
that's what I sorry to interrupt, but that's a great point because that's one of the things that I really loved about building those little miniatures, and when I got into that, because that is, even though it's on such a small scale and it's nowhere near the same kind of level as they did it with those films, it's
Yeah,
really like getting into that same sort of craftsmanship that made those films so appealing to me in the first place. So
exactly.
that's
Like
one
when
thing
I
I
was
love
a kid.
about your photography is it really captures that.
Right, because like when I was a kid, I was like, I dreamed of like being in that suit. I dreamed of like
Yeah.
having these things. I dreamed of doing that. You know what I mean? And now, now that I know what I know, I get the chance to do that. I get the chance to go back to that world and play
Mm-hmm.
with my imagination and things, you know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing for me, you know? I mean, I used to be a hardcore gamer. Now I'm not. I'm a hardcore toy photographer more than
That's
anything, you
awesome.
know? So yeah, so what the rule for me is to try and keep things as real as possible, you know what I
Oh,
mean? So
beautiful.
yeah, so that's what I strive for, and in every photo, you know what I mean? Like I respect the, artists out there that do,
Compositing of
compositing and
different
stuff like that.
things
You know
and
what I mean? And kudos to them that they have the, the skills to do that. But honestly, like it never feels real, you
yeah.
know?
How
It
do you
never
feel
feels.
about like in the actual movies these days when they do, full CGI stuff compared to like back in the day, the hand-built miniatures and all of that?
It's come a long way, you know what I mean? But the thing though is, I mean, it looks great, but in
Mm-hmm.
the back of your mind, somewhere, you're like, that's, you know what I mean? Like
It's
this
just not as
probably could have
fun,
been. It's not
I
as
would say.
fun, and like it's lost that charm, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like with when you look back at 2014, why is that movie so freaking dark?
Mm.
Okay, when Godzilla is on screen is because they're hiding the imperfections of like the technology that they use for
Yeah.
those things. You know what I mean? Godzilla King of the Monsters was a little more lighter, but because they kind of perfected the art and things. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And things, but even now, like if you look at one of like look at this Godzilla, see how like the light is. You know what I mean? Like it's really like the CG artists. Like, it's really hard to replicate that. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you'll ever have it'll look as real because see here the light is really reacting to how it is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But like when they do CG and things like that, artists have to really use their imaginations and figure out where the light is coming, how the light
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
is behaving on a certain surface and things like that. If it's done, practically, it's all done for you. Like you can
Yeah.
see
The
like
way
it.
I look at it is even though like something CGI can like in some ways look technically more photorealistic just because the way it's designed and put together, even like a rubber puppet in its own unique way looks more real because it's a physical object that's again that light is coming off of it. And when I watch those films, it's never about it looking like real in the way that a lot of the people kind of expect it to and want it to in the sort of modern mentality. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
just enjoy the physicality and the playfulness of that
Exactly, and also too
those
the
classic films.
artistry behind it because like before
Exactly.
doing toy photography, I was looking at a lot of behind the scenes on how Godzilla movies were made.
Yeah, that's a great
Well,
place to
then
start.
I was like, ah, that really lit a light bulb for me. You know what I mean? So objects in the foreground are bigger, and then objects in the background
Yeah.
are smaller. So that's how they create that illusion of Godzilla being the size that he is and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And if you notice, that's what I do in my toy photography. You
Yeah.
know? I try to put something in my photos to give it scale. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Because these figures are supposed to be gigantic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if there's nothing to give it scale, it kind of just looks like a toy in a photo, and that's it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I always try to give it a sense of scale by putting an object in there, like little people or something
Mhm.
like that. You know what I
I
mean?
I love it when
Yeah.
you do the foregrounds, like you're saying about the depth, when you actually have like the little people close up and they're looking out at the like I think you did one with like the legendary pictures Godzilla, like the 2014 one, and then a helicopter or something like that. Those
Yes.
ones are really effective.
Ever since I started toy photography, I really pay attention to how movies are framed and stuff like
Mhm.
that. The composition, the angles that they're using, the Dutch angles and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel that's what's really helped my toy photography too. But that I pay more attention to that now is because of a certain photo that I did. It's back there actually.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
Okay. Okay.
This photo right here.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I was actually wondering if you would have some of your photos printed out when before
Yeah.
doing this video.
Yeah. I I purposely put this photo on my wall. The reason is this photo's special to me
Yeah.
because one day on YouTube on the Articulated Comic Book Podcast, I saw that they use this photo for their thumbnail.
Oh, did
Right?
they?
So then I was like, ooh, what's going on here? So then I clicked onto that, and then towards the end of that podcast, they talked about this photo,
Uh-huh.
right? And in that moment, in those few minutes, I discovered something that I just didn't discover, that I had no idea of before.
What's that?
Basically, the way the composition of this photo, because I heard them speaking. Oh, I don't think he knows about the composition, but he did the golden arc, the Fibonacci things. I was like,
Oh,
what
the
the hell is
spiral.
Fibonacci? Yeah, the spiral, right? That's when I really started paying more attention and being more aware of composition.
Yeah.
And they talked about how good the composition of this photo was. So I was like,
It is a
ah.
great one.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, so I kind of stumbled onto this one, and like I got huge props for this photo. You know what I mean? So that's why this photo is special to me. And since this photo, that's when I really started paying attention to more of those little photographic details and stuff like
Yeah. So that's really cool that you got all that from that podcast, and I definitely noticed you've great composition in your stuff.
that.
Which brings me
Yes,
to
yes.
us wondering what would be your sort of ultimate tips for somebody starting off doing toy photography?
Just study other people. You know what I mean? Study people that are better than you. That's what I did. I studied
Yeah.
John Ruffing. I even study John Ruffing now.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I study other people. I see what they're doing and things like, and I pay attention to like their lighting, their composition, the depth and things. And like don't
Hmm.
be afraid to ask people too. You know what I mean? Like I there are lots of people that are constantly asking me for tips and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
I've
so I
I've
was like,
seen
okay,
them
good.
actually under every
Yeah,
photo you got people asking that stuff. And
yeah.
I've seen some of those
So
people actually go forward and produce some photos that I've then seen from them that look very, very similar to your style to the point where it's
yeah,
uncanny.
yeah. So yeah, so my style's out there, but I'm the pioneer.
Definitely.
I'm the Hulk Hogan of that.
Yeah.
If in that photo too, if you notice the color,
Mhm.
one thing I learned from that podcast is composition through color, right?
Mm.
So the blue, the complementary color to blue is orange.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I was like, using complementary colors too. You know what I mean? To bring out the composition and stuff like that. So that's why like if you put my pictures like all on one wall, you see like this just an explosion of color, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I love putting color in, and like the old Godzilla films, I mean, they weren't colorful. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're quite muted and
Yeah, they're quite muted. And John Ruffing's photos are like that. You know what I mean?
mhm.
He really captures that tone of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
In
what I
in
like about his
yeah,
photos actually, a lot of
yeah,
them. Like one of my favorite one is the where he's got the X Plus Kamata-kun figure, the Shin Godzilla
mhm,
one, like through some of those older looking Japanese buildings.
yeah, yeah. So like I got some of his work up here.
Oh yeah.
For me, he's got. Let me show you. This one right here.
Oh nice.
This one. He sent me this. I mean, I love this shot right here.
It does look like a screenshot of like the film itself.
Yes, yeah. This is the man that inspired me to get into toy photography. You know what I mean? And I'm forever grateful to him. And like I talk to him every now and then. Like
Wow.
he published a book. Now he's got my Kaiju magazine.
Mhm.
So
Ah,
this is the
cool.
second issue, and in this second issue, I'm in it.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's a lot of great artists too, but like I was very blessed and honored to be
There
part
you
of
are.
the
Oh, that's so
second
cool.
issue. And look at that,
There it is.
there it is. Yeah, things. And ever since then, I've been in other publications too, like X Clue magazine. You know, they just recently they have a new magazine coming out, issue 1, which I don't have that yet. It has yet to come to my house, but they do every year a book called the 100 Project.
Uh-huh.
This is the 100 Project 2019,
Mm.
and I'm in this one too.
Oh, cool.
So
What have you got in there?
I'm number 31, I think. Let me look through this one. Ah, here it is. This one right here.
Ah, yeah,
You
beautiful.
seen this one, yeah. Like I was like figuring out how. Okay, I'm gonna be in this magazine, and I want something explosive. You know what I mean? So how
You
can I?
definitely did that there.
Yeah. Like myself included and stuff like that. Like a lot of times we do Godzilla photos with his atomic breath,
Yeah,
but no one's actually done in toy photography
the nuclear
style
pulse.
the pulse exactly.
Yeah.
You know? And like I've seen, and one of the inspirations for me to doing this photo right here was Matt Frank's comic art.
Okay.
Okay, in one of the issues in Rulers of the Earth.
Mm.
Okay, there's this great panel where the 2001, no, it's the 2002 Godzilla. In that one, it's the 2002 design, where he uses the atomic pulse,
Yeah.
right? To repel, I think it was Batra. I can't remember.
Okay.
And that's what. And like I told you before, I look at a picture, right? I look at something, and then I try to reverse engineer it and
Mm-hmm.
think of what I could use to make this come to life, and this is what I got.
Yeah. What did you actually use for the big blue pulse itself in that one?
So this is an acrylic dome.
Oh.
So here in Taiwan, like a friend of mine helped me research where can I get an acrylic dome
Mm-hmm.
big enough to put my figures underneath, right?
Yeah.
So then my wife, she ordered it for me. I ordered 2. Okay, so they're in clear plastic. So one, I did this one. I used a translucent blue.
Mm-hmm.
I spray painted most of it, but I left like a little bit so I can so you can see the figure because you don't want the paint to completely
Yeah.
obscure the
Yeah.
figure, right? And then the other one was for the Burning Godzilla, but I
Also,
didn't show that until recently,
uh-huh.
right? So I had this thing for months. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I
because
knew
I
it
saw
was
that it
that.
looks like just like the Burning Godzilla one.
Yeah. So when I did this one, I sat on this for months. Like I was itching to show this, but like Jack Sturman, the director of this, like he asked all the artists, please do not publish anything. You know what I mean? So to keep the book unique, you know, to keep it
Yeah.
until the book comes out, then you can publish it or whatever, right? It's like okay, sure, but I was like,
Oh,
I
so you had to
really
keep it
wanted to show
secret.
this off. Yeah. So I was sitting on that for months, you know what I mean? So and
uh,
then when I saw it, and it was such a relief when I finally got to show it off, you know what I mean? And then like the light streaks in that one, they're just plastic rods, you
it's
know?
so
They're just
cool that you
plastic.
did that all practically, because it
Yeah,
did.
they're just plastic white rods, right? And I added just a tiny bit of effects in Photoshop, you know, and
Yeah.
other than that, everything else in this photo is 100% tangible.
Ah, beautiful.
So I've hit a lot. I've hit quite a few milestones in my journey of toy photography. Stuff that I'm very proud of. You know. So yeah, I can't be thankful enough of X Clue, and I can't be thankful enough of John Ruffing and even Chris Webb and things, and and everything, everybody else. You know, everyone who's contributed to my knowledge. You know what I mean?
Ah,
Akira Joe,
yeah.
Simon Hill, so many, even other groups like the Articulated Comic Book Art, Toy Comics. You know, that's another group, a good group of guys that are do toy photography and things. You know what I mean? So, you know, I feed off of other people's things. You know, and that's what the community does. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
we contribute to each other and things like that. That's why like in my Instagram, I always try to post behind the scenes because I like to contribute to other people. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then other people contribute back in their own way. You know what I mean? So, and I kind of like to think that the reason why my Instagram is at where it's at with 9,000 followers and
Which,
climbing.
congratulations for that. And
Thank you.
we will have links to all your stuff below. I should have actually said that at the beginning of the video, but we'll
Cool.
make sure everyone
Cool.
can see your stuff.
Thank you. I kind of like to think it's because, like I contribute that knowledge to people. So then, oh yeah, this guy, I should follow this guy. You know what I mean? Because he's got something to teach. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's one of the things too. Like even for my YouTube channel, like the tutorials that I've done, because like I am a teacher and stuff like that. There's a part of me that is a teacher and stuff like that. So I like to teach. I like to show. I like to I like to give other people that knowledge. So.
And they're definitely some of your best videos on there, and they're really fascinating.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I wanted to talk more about like the miniatures and stuff, but I also wanted, before we get into that, to ask about if those are some of your best tips for doing toy photography. What are some of the mistakes that a lot of people make going in, or some of the worst things people do?
Okay, let's start with the tips first because I don't think I gave enough. Okay, so just for tips, so learn from other people, watch what they do, okay, and just grind it out. Just keep grinding and grinding and grinding, and eventually you'll find your own niche. You know what I mean? You'll find your own particular style and things, and that's what I did, and yeah, just keep grinding, keep learning, keep pushing yourself. Don't be afraid. Even now, I fail sometimes too in my toy photography. I look at something and say, shit, I should have done it this way. So
that happens to me with everything that I try and do, even if I'm fairly competent.
So
it's normal.
Even the best guys, they screw up too. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's it. Just keep pushing on. All right. Now some of the mistakes. Mistake number one, they never use enough lighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't use the appropriate lighting, your photo just falls flat. It doesn't matter if you have an expensive camera, if you have expensive toys, if you have expensive accessories or whatever, you know what I mean? No amount of accessories, if you don't properly frame it right, if you don't give it the right composition, even the posing and stuff like that, your photo will fall flat. So
lighting is everything when it comes to
lighting
it.
is especially,
and you can totally screw it up. Like I've seen lots of people do like camera flash stuff on stuff that totally shouldn't be lit that way.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could get into like a lot of like what I see, and sometimes too, putting too much into a scene is not good. Sometimes less is more. Like if you put like a whole bunch of figures in and stuff like that, right? It's just gonna get jumbled, and you're like, where do you want my eyes to focus? I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes I see people doing mistakes like that. I message them, hey, work on your composition, work on your lighting, you know what I mean? So yeah. And also too, like for some people, they just get stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again, you know what I mean? They just keep beating a dead horse, you know what I mean? So like, if you notice with my toy photography, I change it up all the time, you know what I mean? I like to, keep things fresh, try different posing, try different angles, try different lighting, try different colors and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
I'd love to see you do some like black and white stuff or something like that to change it up from your bright color tones, because I think that would be a really cool thing to see.
If it suits that character.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Godzilla 54.
Oh, absolutely.
Or Showas too. You know what I mean? But legendary and high sci, you could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it really doesn't really suit it. You know what I mean? It suit the character. So another rule that I have for myself is to capture the spirit of that character.
Nice.
So that's important to me. So that's the thing. So yeah. Mistakes that people do, lighting is big, is one big thing too. Composition, jumbling everything up and things, you know what I mean? Just cramming too much things in where like it just gets lost, so yeah. And then like the depth, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't really know how to manage the depth. even the angles.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So people will get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eventually, you know
The
what I mean?
tricky thing with depth is that when you're shooting something on that scale, stuff
Mm.
tends to go out of focus when you don't want it to. For example, if you got something happening closer to the foreground and then you got the figure behind it, you can definitely struggle, at least I have with some of the stuff I've done, to get the foreground to stay in focus and the background. Whereas when something really is that massive, you can pretty much easily get everything roughly in focus. So to
Yeah.
create that illusion, it's very difficult.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes it's like even like the limitation of the hardware that you're using,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's why you have to go around it, you know what I mean? So how about like there is such things, something called focus stacking on Photoshop, where you can take a shot of one particular figure at fully focused, and then another
Mm-hmm.
shot, you know what I mean, and then bring those in. But that doesn't
Yeah.
always work. You
They
know what
they
I mean?
even
So
do that in live action films as well,
yes,
to blend
yeah.
shots and
Like if you
stuff.
look at my Godzilla versus Ultraman, the one with the Matt Frank
Yeah.
um, art, that's exactly what it did. Like if you look at that, everything is in focus, but in doing that shot, it wasn't in focus. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to take Godzilla and Ultraman in focus first, then take the cutout in focus next, and then put them together. And
Ah,
then
yeah.
the result is that everything is nice and crisp. Yeah, it's just something that you just have to work around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, very cool. We first met when I did my little video on doing those little miniature buildings. I did a little tutorial
Yes.
video. It's very outdated and I should redo it. I just haven't had the time and even the
Mm.
space to really build stuff like that. But I've actually got...
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like I'm just so busy. Like I have like a ton of ideas that I would like, but I'm just so busy with things. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I just don't have the time. So
likewise. So you were telling me earlier that the initial idea for that, because I got that idea as was inspired by a video done by the Geek Chest and Super Unimportant Reviews.
yeah, you got it from me.
Exactly, that's what you tell me.
Yeah,
So I want you to
yeah.
tell everyone the story behind that and
All
how
right.
you first came up with that idea.
Yes, it was me. Okay,
It was you.
but it doesn't. But it's all good. I mean, everybody does it now, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the thing. Like what I told you. Like everybody, art. Everybody inspires everybody else. You know what I mean? So at the time when I was trying to figure out how to get buildings into my shots, right?
Yeah.
Because I was starting to. That's the birth of my toy photography. Like right at the beginning, making you know what I mean? I was like, where do I get buildings? Like I
Because nothing
couldn't make,
scales with monster arts.
there was nothing out there, right?
Yeah.
Until I was in a stationery store one day,
Yeah.
and then I noticed up high there was like these blocks. I'll show you right now.
Okay.
These
Mm-hmm.
these blocks of
Styrofoam.
styrofoam, right? And oddly enough, I had a Godzilla with me. Boom! I put it right to the side. I was like,
Nice.
wow. So I bought a whole bunch, right? It's like, okay, so now how do I get the detailing in, right?
Yeah.
So then I Googled building textures, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if you look at Steve's video, he says the same thing, building textures. Guys, I
Exactly.
Googled building textures. I did that first.
Yes.
Okay. So then I discovered that there's a whole bunch of building textures that you could use and stuff like that, right? So I copied and pasted and stuff. I printed it out. And then all I did, like if you look back at my video, you know, you just glue it on and stuff like that. You paint it up and then there you
Yeah.
go. And that was for my Godzilla 89. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I was making the diorama for my Godzilla 89. So this was even before I started doing toy photography. I just wanted something for my Godzilla 89. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Because it's cool to
And
have them, yeah, with them.
yeah. So I even made a base and everything for him, you know what I mean? So like
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to feel things out, you know what I mean? Like I was just winging things, you know what I mean? Like there was no guide on how to do any of this stuff or whatever, you know? And then a couple months later, and then I see Steve do his,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But then, if you look back, he did reference me. Oh, I got this from FigureMania Show, but he did a base, and I'm just gonna show you the thing or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So he just improved upon my idea, but that idea was mine.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the funny thing is, after that, like around that same time, I happened to be trying to figure out doing the same stuff, and what I found is I didn't really like the base material or whatever, because he used polystyrene. I think he used some that like the stuff that I don't know what it's called, but people put like flowers in it, and it's like this.
Yeah, that's like, oh, I have it right here.
You
And you know
do?
what? Like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna use this material again
Yeah.
because it just fucking like
It's
it just
messy.
it's messy. I think there's something else out there that I can use, but it's just so goddamn messy. Like I just made this
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, and I don't like it. You know, I'm not going back to this material.
Yeah, I tried it really briefly and I hated it as well. So
Yeah,
what
and like the glue doesn't stick well to it
no.
either, and things. You know what I
What
mean?
I
So
did what I did is I decided to then improve on the design again and use wooden blocks basically.
yes,
And
yeah,
so it's this constant evolution. Actually, I want to bring in a random building just to kind of show you like the how
okay,
far I pushed it, because
sure,
I for the Godzilla stuff I used wooden blocks for small buildings and like cardboard cartons for the bigger ones. But
mm.
I started building some stuff for like N scale, so for X plus figures, and I did one that I think turned out really nicely. You might like to see, so just go over and bring it over.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So hopefully you
That
can
looks great.
see that there. I did put it
Yeah,
on my Instagram. You could probably see it.
yeah.
But this
That
took
looks great. I mean, there's texture to that and things, you know. It's not like a smooth, flat surface, you know. I mean, that's
yeah.
for toy photography. That's something that I would definitely want. You know what I mean? Because like the lighting and everything, the way that the light reacts to the object and stuff like that, seeing those shadows and stuff like that. That's what helps elevate the photo, and that's what you
Yeah.
would want.
I
Yeah.
only had one of these in me though, because this took
Oh,
forever to make.
yeah. That looks like a lot of work. You
Yeah, but
know. So
I
like,
actually filmed the whole process, and this I probably made this at least like a year or two ago, and I just never got the time to edit the video. And the thing
uh,
is, I have like at least half a dozen other videos like that in that whole like
mm,
effect parts and diorama thing series that I never finished. So
yeah.
I need to get to them because they were like you were saying earlier, they're not me just reviewing figures. They're like stuff that I'm actually contributing to like
Sure.
to making stuff. And
Yeah.
I think the fandom in general needs more, would really benefit from more tutorials on like custom stuff like this, because
Right.
around that same time you were talking about, they didn't have barely any videos
Nothing.
doing tutorials on that stuff. That's why there was like your video and Steve's video and then my video, and those were like almost all that there was.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think now there's a little bit more that
There's
mainly
more, but also too like now there's iPop Designs. Those are
yeah,
the buildings that I go to. That's
the
like
3D printed ones.
yeah, and they're beautiful. You know what I
They
mean?
are.
Now the thing is though, like with them, like even like if you look at my IGTV, like when I talk about it, you know what I mean? They're not necessarily in scale, but it really doesn't matter. You
They
know what I
just
mean?
got to give the effect
You just got
more
to
so
give the
than
effect. Also, too,
yeah.
you got to know where to place that particular building in the shot
Yes.
to give that illusion. So if you look at my Godzilla 2014 inspired shot,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with the sun in the back and then all the smoke and stuff like that, and the layering that I put in that it just really just brings that photo to life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
What
Um, Go
what
ahead.
scaling would you say works the best with Monster Arts figures? Because for me, it's somewhere like 1/300-ish. One.
Somewhere there, it's like one to 400. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like unfortunately, like there's no company out there, like
Mm.
official company
Yeah.
that makes it specifically for SH Monster Arts. You know what I mean? So we're kind of left to like figure things out on our own, and that's what people have done. Now that's why there's iPop Designs now. You know what I
I
mean?
just wish they were cheaper.
And now there's
Yeah.
well, you're paying for the quality, and the quality is pretty high. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, they do
So,
look really neat.
and I'll gladly. It's worth for me. It's worth the money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
For
So
for me, it's mainly the postage that irritates me because it's from the U.S. I think, and the postage to here is like they cost more than the building to post one, and
oh
it's like,
yeah, that's too bad. Like you could get a 3D printer, but like
hmm.
it's
I've
that's
considered it.
I consider 3D, getting a 3D printer. Like I don't have a space for a 3D printer right now in my room, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the time to learn 3D printing and stuff like that. And yeah, but like if I had a 3D printer and if I knew how to properly use it, I'd be making all kinds of things. You know what I
Me
mean?
too.
But
Yeah.
it's very, very time consuming, and it's just time that I just don't have. You know what I mean? I'm a family man. I have a household to, you know what I mean? I'm not a kid
Definitely. Yeah.
that lives with their parents or anything like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's just things that I just have to put in the back burner somewhere. You know what I mean? So for now, I like what's out there. You know what I mean? So if I need something, I'll gladly pay for it. You know what I mean? And then I get it. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
I do have an idea I haven't started working on it yet.
Oh yeah.
I will at one point, and when I'm ready, I'll show it. You
Okay.
know what I mean? So yeah. Like in terms of like ideas, I don't like to. I never advertise the ideas that I'm doing. You
Oh
know what I mean?
really?
I like to
It's
kind
gotta
of
be
keep things
done or
quiet.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So I kind of like to keep things close to the chest and things, and then like when I'm ready to show it, I show it.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I am working on stuff like there's new figures coming out. Like I don't know if you've seen the pre-order for the Mudo set. Have you seen
I ordered
the
it.
you ordered it?
That like some dude is like custom making them, like 3D printing them, and then
I ordered it. I ordered it.
me
Yeah,
too. They're called the Parasite Mother and
Parasite. Yeah,
Father or
by
something like that.
Photon Collectibles. Yes.
Yeah, I hope they're good. They look really
I
nice.
the thing though is like I really looked at the shots, at the sample shots and stuff, and it's a smooth figure, so
Mm,
you're not gonna get any detailing in it or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So how do you and when he already said that when you get this delivered to you, it's not gonna be painted. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So if you want this, you have to paint it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be painted for you. So thankfully for me, my buddy who has the toy store, he's an excellent painter. I'm
oh
just gonna hand
great,
it off to him. You know what I mean? And he's gonna paint it for me. I'm gonna provide him the pictures, make it look like this,
yeah.
and he's gonna, you know what I mean? So again, to combat the weaknesses of that figure, painting it up it'll definitely need to be painted up.
Yeah, it'll
You know
need
what I mean?
that.
Give it the right compositions and the
Yeah,
right poses and
I'm
stuff like
thinking I might
that.
even add sculpted detail if it's missing it and stuff like that. I come from like an arts background, so I'm all good with that sort of stuff. It's just the time that it takes
Yeah,
to do that stuff. Otherwise, I would have
yeah.
made the figure myself from scratch. But again,
Mhm.
time.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. There's just a ton of things that I would like to do. I just don't have the enough time. You know what I mean? So, oh man, you know. Anyways, um, so what else? So yeah, so I am working on something special for those Mudo figures.
Oh, awesome! I can't wait to
Yeah,
see it.
and I'm gonna start working on something special for that NECA Kong that's coming out. I
Yeah, I hope that's a
cannot
good
wait for that.
figure.
Oh man,
Fingers crossed.
yes, I can't. I so itching for that figure, man. And what I got planned for that figure, I mean, I have the time. I have enough time now until then to make something really
Yeah,
unique and things. So that's what I'm going to be working on.
yeah.
And also, I'm going to be working on something too that I will eventually post up on my YouTube and my Instagram about toy photography, a different way of doing toy kaiju shots and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
look for that too. So yeah, I'm not going to give any more details. You know what I mean? Because like I'm still working on it.
Oh, fair enough, but I think we're all very excited for that. What do you think specifically about Godzilla is like had a unique appeal to you as opposed to say every other sort of fandom out there?
Well, again, like it goes back to my childhood, right? So, dinosaurs were a big thing for me in the beginning, and then I saw Godzilla, a super dinosaur,
Yeah.
basically, in my, in my eyes, right? And then I saw like all this other stuff, Godzilla as a superhero, Godzilla as a villain. Now, people like, even though Godzilla is a villain in most of his films, people still root for him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, which is fine. Like, I mean, I remember watching Godzilla '84. I loved that movie for a long time. That was the
Yeah.
third Godzilla movie that I saw, Godzilla '84. It was actually Godzilla 1985 in Canada. You know,
Okay, so you saw
and I
that
saw
cut.
it it was in a VHS store. My father rented it, and I watched that movie to death like so many times. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
that Godzilla stayed my favorite Godzilla for a long time. So first it was, the first Godzilla movie. I saw Godzilla versus King Kong, King Kong
Mm-hmm.
versus Godzilla, right? And then it was Godzilla versus Megalon. I love that Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then it was after that. I mean, I saw other Godzilla movies between now and then, but it didn't impact me as much as Godzilla versus Megalon until Godzilla '84 or
Oh,
'85.
okay. A
Yeah,
very, very, very different type of movie,
a very,
strangely
very
enough.
different type of movie. Yeah,
That's what
and
I think
actually,
that's
it was.
something that actually makes Godzilla really stand out is there is
Yeah,
such a variety to the films that no matter what sort of mood you're in or
yeah,
what kind of a movie fan you are, there's something in there that can appeal to you, at least one movie.
exactly. And now, oddly enough, when I saw Godzilla in 1985, this was in '86, right?
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like it was so hard to find it. Like I knew, like I saw a poster of Godzilla. I was like, oh, Godzilla, you know what I mean? And then like
Yeah.
I would go in, and then like I made my father register as a, for the, at the time, like if you wanted to rent from a video store, you had to register and stuff like that, your
Oh,
credit
yeah,
card. I go
yeah.
down, I want this Godzilla movie, right? And I was looking all over the place for Godzilla movies. So I rented a whole bunch. You know what I mean? Even Godzilla versus Megalon was one of them too, and things. And so yeah, that was my only access to Godzilla
Yeah.
was
Some of
that
my
video
first
store.
Godzilla films are also from like Blockbuster back in the day.
Yeah. And then when I saw '84 Godzilla, or '85, I should say, and then if you recall in that movie, they used clips from the original 1954 Godzilla,
Yeah.
right? And I was shocked. I was like, what? There's a black and white Godzilla. I had no idea, right? So not long after that, I started looking for this movie. I wanted to see this 1954 movie, you
Yeah.
know? And, as a kid, it didn't really do anything for me, you know what I mean? It's like,
Uh-huh. Did you see was it the Raymond Burr cut, the King of the Monsters, or the Japanese cut?
I think it was the Raymond Burr. Yeah,
That's
because
probably the more likely the case. I think it was much
yeah,
recently
it
that the
was the Raymond
Japanese
Burr
one
version
was
because like
available.
everything I could, yeah, it was just all dubbed and things.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like at the time I had no idea about the difference between a Chinese person and a Japanese person. I had no
Yeah,
idea,
yeah.
you know.
Now you
And
live in Taiwan.
now I do. Now I do. But yeah, like it didn't do anything for me because I'm a little kid or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just wanted action, I wanted comic books, I
Yeah,
wanted,
definitely.
and that film is not that. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah.
I came to appreciate it much more later now as an adult. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's been my journey for Godzilla. So Godzilla for me, I mean, he's a special character. I mean, he's been around my entire life. I've loved Godzilla because it first came from dinosaurs, and like
Yeah.
I never left this character. You know what I mean? So even though like there was that 10-year hiatus, you know what I mean? But Godzilla was
Mm-hmm.
like, even when I came to Taiwan, I brought with me a Godzilla vinyl, the '89 vinyl.
Do you still have it?
No, I fucking sold it, and
Oh.
I wish I never would have. You know what I mean? Because I bought that like in Canada.
Uh-huh.
In America they have San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah.
In Canada, in Toronto, we have Fan Expo, which is like in
Okay.
late August, right? And that's where I found at that Comic Con in Toronto, that's where I found that vinyl Godzilla, right? I was
Uh-huh.
like, okay, a Godzilla, and like, you know what I mean? I shouldn't have fucking sold it, man. Shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I
so I had this, and I brought this with me. But then, like, as time went by and things, and I got into the groove of things and stuff like that. I started seeing, oh, there's lots of Godzilla stuff here. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? And then, it grew from there and stuff. And then, for silly me, I sold it or whatever, because I was like, oh, I just want monster arts, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And
I,
then, then I was like,
that
I do
always
feel
happens. People go through
too.
phases where they like
Yeah, they go through phases and shit.
collect
You
and
know
they're
what
like,
I mean?
oh, maybe I shouldn't, and they sell something off and they're like, what was I thinking? And
Yeah,
that's happened to
yeah,
me
yeah,
before a few times.
yeah. So, like, I had a ton of Transformers, and I sold it off. You know what I mean? And I just kept the ones that I want, like Optimus
Yeah.
Prime, all the Optimus Primes. But then, now that I do toy photography, it's like, fuck,
Yeah,
I
you're
should have
just like,
sold
if
that
you only
character.
had still
I
had
should have
it.
used that character. You know what I mean? So I was like, god damn it. But anyways, it is what it is. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
it
yeah,
happens. So
yeah.
speaking of those movies, out of all the movies that we have today, what's your favorite Godzilla movie and your least favorite?
My
Tough
favorite
question.
right now, because it's like it's strong in my memory, is
Mm-hmm.
King of the Monsters. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, you like that film?
I have been waiting my entire life for a Godzilla movie like that,
Yeah.
where the scale of that movie, like the presence of these beasts, impacts the world, not just Japan. It impacts the world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's the thing too, like whenever, like in those classic movies and stuff like that, like it was always limited to Japan only, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like somewhere in Japan, but it would like in a realistic, if these monsters, these creatures really exist in the real world, like they would go anywhere, nobody would be
Absolutely.
safe, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I really like that about this monster verse, like fucking, like, no matter where you go, you might run into one,
Yeah.
because there's more of them out there now. You know what I mean? Nobody is safe. It kind of reminds me of that comic series from IDW, where this takes place after Rulers of the Earth, where like the world is just devastated.
Uh-huh.
Things, and like they're just all over the place, and like humanity's reduced to, like, to scraps.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what that I like. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
Toho should adapt those comic books into animated films, because there's great stories there.
It
You
would
know
be
what I mean?
cool. I want to see
I
them
don't
do
know
more
why they don't
animated
do it.
stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah,
yeah, there was the whole anime thing and people had very mixed opinions on that.
yeah,
But I want to see
yeah.
like a traditional style anime done because I think it's so weird that anime and Godzilla is so synonymous to Japan, yet they're so rarely
Yes,
put together.
yeah.
But speaking of King of
So
the Monsters, I was so blown away after seeing that film.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it was a spectacle to behold.
it was WrestleMania of monsters. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was WrestleMania. Yeah, like I love that movie to death, man. I mean, I have the art book. I bought the poster
Oh, me
version. I
too,
have
me
the
too.
DVD. I was like, fucking.
Yeah,
I was
there's
like, man,
literally a poster of it like behind the screen with your face right over there. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, great
And
film.
my least favorite Godzilla film, it's oddly enough, it's one I haven't seen, and I have it. I
Oh
haven't.
yeah.
I haven't seen it. The one where Gabra is in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Godzilla's Revenge. I haven't seen that. Like, I've seen screens
Yeah.
of the movie and things. Like, I know what the story is about and stuff
I
like
think I'm
that.
actually the same. I have it on DVD. I don't even remember if I've watched it or not.
No, I know I have it, and I haven't watched it to this day. Like, I have everything else. Like, actually,
Yeah.
hold on a second. Here it is. My sister,
Ah, I've
my
got that
sister-in-law,
one.
sent this to me from Australia.
Yep,
You know,
that's an the Mad is it Madman Pictures or what is it? The release Eastern Eye
Eastern Eye. Yeah. So I told her, you got to find the other one. This is volume 2.
2.
I need volumes. Is there a volume 3?
There's only
Guess there is.
there's 2, then there's the Heisei one, then there's a Millennium one. I've got I've got the first 2 Showa ones and the Heisei one, but I've got the Millennium films on their own separate DVDs.
Oh, okay. Because I want volume 2. You know, so I watched every film on this. I watched every film on this except Godzilla's Revenge with Gabra. I haven't seen that one yet. You know, so
uh,
like, I don't know. Maybe I'll see it. Like Megalon was a treat, you know, because like
yes.
it was like the second Godzilla movie I saw as a kid, and like watching him do kung fu and fucking do
Yeah, and
the drop kick. It
the
was,
weird drop kick thing,
yeah,
and the
yeah. And
Jet
then
Jaguar's song and everything. It's
and
perfection.
one thing that I just didn't remember, like I remember seeing it, but um, Godzilla versus Hedorah, that was a pretty psychedelic movie. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I really like that film.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Godzilla versus Gigan, and the Mecha Godzilla and the Terra Mecha
Yeah.
Godzilla. Like, man, like you know the one thing about these Godzilla movies, like in that sort, like you saw Godzilla get the shit kicked out of him.
Oh yeah,
Like you saw
yeah.
blood. Like I remember when I saw Godzilla versus Megalon, that was the first time I saw Godzilla bleed because when he's
Mhm.
flying and then they cut him. Like I didn't know at the time that they were using clips from Godzilla versus Gigan, which is
Uh
the movie
huh.
before that one. So I had no idea, you know what I mean? And I was like,
Yeah.
to see your hero bleed, you're like, oh my god, that's a very traumatizing thing, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And even like I remember like when I went to the movie theater to watch Transformers the movie and I saw Optimus Prime die, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, fuck, like I wanted to walk out of the movie.
From
You
what I
know what I
heard,
mean?
they literally did that because the toys weren't selling, so
Yeah,
it was so bizarre. But that's
yeah.
Transformers for you.
They had no idea that Optimus Prime was such an iconic character, or
Yeah.
else they knew they wouldn't have done it, which is what they said. But anyways, getting back to Godzilla. So yeah, so least favorite. It's only because I haven't seen it. Like my opinion might change if I watch the movie, but
It
as of
is
right now,
directed by Ishiro Honda, so you'd think it's at least somewhat competent. I don't know.
yeah.
Just so
But
bizarre. Because,
that is the only Godzilla movie I have not seen. That one.
yeah.
And actually, I haven't fully seen the Destroy All Monsters. I haven't seen it
Oh, that was one
in,
of my
in, in
favorites
its
growing
entirety.
up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
I haven't seen it in its entirety. I've only seen clips of it. Like I've seen like the ending, and I've seen like the beginning, but like the part in the middle, for some reason, I just haven't seen it. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a very long scene where a guy points a laser at this weird thing on the moon or Mars or something. That's about 90% of the film.
Oh,
If you've seen the film, you'll get that reference.
okay.
So
Cool.
maybe someone
Yeah.
will comment down below. Oh, I got that reference. We'll see.
Alrighty, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's the only one. Like favorite, all time favorite, King of the Monsters, 2019.
nice.
Least, it has to be that one only because I haven't seen it. So
Okay. So since
yeah.
we brought up King of the Monsters, let's talk about the new Legendary films. What do you think of them so far? The whole set.
Uh I like what they've crafted,
Yeah.
you know, but after King of the Monsters, I got worried because I kind of understand why, but like now they're leaving like what was established in 2014,
Yeah.
you know, Godzilla, it's our world but with Godzilla,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then with King of the Monsters, it's still our world with Godzilla, but it's just much more fantastical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then now, oh, they flat out say King Ghidorah is an alien, you know?
Uh-huh.
And now there's rumblings of Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Like, I was watching a video from D-Man explaining why he doesn't think Mecha Godzilla is a good idea in this universe. And I agree with him, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because, like, yeah, so I like, yes, it's a Godzilla movie, and like, but totally, like, for this universe, I don't know if that character would fit. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
like, why make a giant robot Godzilla? Why? You know what I mean? Why not just make a freaking trap for him? Like, throw him in a black hole or something like
Yeah.
that. Why do you know what I mean? Like, there's more. If you wanted to get rid of Godzilla, there's more, I guess,
Reasonable
destructive.
methods.
yeah, more reasonable methods to do it. You know what I
What
mean? But
I'm what
it's
I'm thinking, the only reason they'd have a Mecha Godzilla was because they wanted something that the other kaijus would respect as an alpha.
yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of. Like like if the Titans see this thing, they'll think it's Godzilla, and then they
Yeah,
think they can control the Titans through this Mecha Godzilla, which is the only thing that I can think of. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I don't know. Like now, like from what's been leaked, with going into Godzilla versus Kong, I gotta tell you, I'm very worried about that movie. You know,
yeah. It could go either way with that one.
like this movie could fail easily. You know,
Yeah,
not. I kind of feel that it's not its fault in a way,
really.
given that from what's happened in the world and things. You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah,
many times the movie has been pushed back and things. I I just you know what? Even though if this movie does get released when it's supposed to get released in May,
mm-hmm.
if it does, because honestly, like the way things are going in America, if things don't get better, it's not gonna release on that. I don't see it getting released on that day.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's
maybe
really hard to
everywhere
tell at
else in
this
the world, I
point.
don't know. It's really hard to tell, and you know what I mean. Like partly, it's not the movie's fault. You know what I mean?
No,
Because
no.
like
I've heard
let's
people
say
were like
like
attacking the
people,
director for announcing this and all that sort of stuff. I made a little video about it telling
oh, they're
people to
just
chill
stupid. They're
out.
just more
But
little twerps that like to just fucking vent for nothing. I don't get any
yeah.
of that shit. But like I don't know, man. Like even now in Taiwan, now that the mass restrictions have been lifted here in Taiwan and stuff like that, people here in Taiwan are not in a hurry to go back to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Not. They're just not. Like nobody's going to the movie, and I kind of feel like if this movie does come out in May, how many people will be in a hurry to go back to the movie theater? You know what I mean?
It's
And
hard to tell. Yeah.
it's really hard to tell. And like the thing though is too like in a way like this movie being pushed back this far, in a way like it's good for me because it gives me more time to save up for the money, for all the collectibles that's going to
I
happen.
totally empathize with that actually.
But at the same
Yeah.
time, there's millions of people that have lost their jobs. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yeah.
And like, how is that? You know what I mean? That's gonna impact a lot of people. Like, they want this stuff, but they can't afford it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a really. I feel bad for it's. I really feel bad for those people out there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, the world
people
is
that
in a
have lost their
really
loved ones.
tough situation at the moment.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. There's no easy fix for this. You know what I mean? Because this has never, at least in my lifetime, this has never happened. I've
Yeah,
never seen
same
anything like this.
same here.
Like I saw, like I thought 2001 was the worst. Now we're seeing something much worse. You know what? And like honestly, like the world has been on a downward trend since 2001. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I don't know, man. I don't know. But getting back to like the movie, like the way it's like from what's been leaked, like they're now dipping into the silliness. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
if this whole thing about Kong having an axe is true, if it's true,
Yeah.
what's the point of making Kong as big as Godzilla if he's gonna use an axe to fight Godzilla?
Yeah. I always found the
Wouldn't
whole
it be
size thing
more?
a bit odd because everyone kept saying, "Oh, he's just like a little baby" in the first film that they put out, and it's just like, geez, he's built like a fully grown man in that film. I doubt he's gonna grow that much. But that's
Like even like
all
when I
the side
saw
thing.
when I saw that in theaters, Kong Skull Island in 2017, and then John C. Riley's character Marlowe, oh
Yeah.
Kong, he's still growing, and then I turned to my wife, I was like, how the fuck does he know that he's still growing?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, is he a doctor? Like, how
Yeah.
does he know that? He's never seen another one of his species that big,
Yeah.
presumably. You know what I mean? How does he know
Maybe.
that he's still growing? So, like, from
I don't
that
know.
point on, it's already contrived. You know what I mean? Like,
I
You know,
mean,
like
they
I would
could have been
want.
there were the bones of the other Kongs. Maybe they were just really massive parent bones. But I don't know.
I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how he came to that conclusion. It's like
Yeah.
how did and no one's asked that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how did he know that? No one's asked that. How the hell does he know that? You know
It's
what I
just a
mean?
bit of fourth wall breaking for all the people out
Yeah. How does he know that?
there.
Explain that to me. But anyways, I kind of feel that it's contrived already. You know what I mean? And like they knew from that point that where they were going to go. Godzilla was going to fight Kong somewhere down the line. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but like, how is they're gonna justify Kong's growth? You know what I mean? How are they? You know what I mean? And then like everything that's being leaking, oh, he's gonna have an axe, he's gonna fight Godzilla, and then okay, so then why make him that big? Remember that leaked trailer where they're up on the ship
Yes,
and
yeah.
Kong is about to punch him? Like I don't know if that's real or not.
It's
If
hard to
it is,
tell.
it might be test footage. It could be just test footage. We don't know, right? But judging from that test footage, who's the underdog? It doesn't look like Kong is the underdog, right?
Yeah.
Because remember they were saying, oh, it's an underdog story. So we automatically think, oh, Kong's the underdog because
Uh-huh.
Godzilla is so freaking powerful. Like he got dropped from the sky and he
Yeah.
didn't die, and none of his dorsal fins broke from that fall. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
if that doesn't kill Godzilla, what can Kong do to Godzilla?
Or even just Ghidorah being
Yeah,
that powerful monster that he was in that film. It felt like they released the Ghidorah card a bit too early in the series.
yeah, like they blew its load. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I look at King of the Monsters as WrestleMania.
Mm.
So then, what's King Kong versus Godzilla gonna be like? Godzilla versus Kong gonna be like?
Yeah.
Another WrestleMania? You know what I mean? What could be bigger than another WrestleMania? A bigger
Yeah.
WrestleMania? But the thing is that between, like, if you think of Ghidorah, King Ghidorah and Kong, what would be more menacing? King Ghidorah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That thing can just regenerate missing pieces of itself. You know what I mean? Like if King Ghidorah were to fight Kong, okay, Kong,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like I, I don't see Kong coming out of it alive.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because if he rips a head off, it grows back and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So this thing has regenerative abilities. It can heal it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Kong can't do that. We've already seen helicopter blades hurt him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
just napalm.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he almost got killed in his movie by people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I don't know how they're gonna do this. You know what I mean? And like if they say, oh, now that he's bigger, he's tougher, that's bullshit. Because like if a little kid gets injured, an adult. Okay, let's say in a car accident, a little kid in
Yeah.
an accident, that kid's gonna die. Same thing with an adult. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
our durability doesn't really change all that much. You know what I mean? So like, if I'm a little kid and something hurts me, you know what I mean? Like let's say fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fire is gonna kill an adult too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If you look at it from that logic, you know what I mean? Like fire could clearly hurt King Kong, and
Absolutely.
could clearly hurt King Kong. So like if he grows to the same size as Godzilla, now it's not gonna hurt him because he's got what, more muscle, more
Yeah.
more hair on him. It just
But
doesn't make a lot
you
of sense.
really have to go into a movie like this just knowing it's gonna be a bit contrived,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
But
Like the thing, well, if you look back on at Batman versus Superman,
oh yeah.
like I'm a big Superman's my favorite character and
Oh
Batman
yeah, really.
my second favorite character. Like I love those two characters, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But even like from the time when they announced that movie was coming at Comic-Con
Mm-hmm.
and they gave that little clip from the animated movie, like, it was just a sound bite. I want you to remember who beat you, blah blah blah, and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that. And then they go, oh, Batman versus Superman coming up, blah blah blah. In 2 years from now, it fucking took 2 years, and then that's all we got.
Yep.
I knew right away that Superman was being set up to lose. Like it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
they just fucking gave us they just gave it away. For me, they gave it away. Yeah, Superman's going to lose because, Batman is is clearly the more popular character and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That's what people want to see in things, you know what I mean? But, like, if you look at it logically, like, fucking, if I'm Superman fighting Batman, he can hit me once in the face with a freaking kryptonite thing. Okay, that's all you're getting. You're only going to get me once, okay? Then next time, I'm going to break your fucking gun and shit like that, you know what I mean? But he gets shot twice. You know what I mean? So it's so contrived, you know what I mean? So, like, I have a feeling that's what the way it's going to happen with King Kong, Godzilla versus King Kong. Like,
I felt the same way, and I felt that I didn't like the idea of putting those two monsters up against each other, at least the versions of them they have in this universe, because they're both set up as, like, the good guy. They're both set up where you relate to them, and if they actually play the card where one of them, like, actually beats the other one, I'm not going to be happy that one won. I'm just going to be sad that one of them lost. So
that's the thing too. I mean, like, the thing though is, like, Godzilla is the flagship character of this franchise.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand before in the 60s Godzilla lost because at the time King Kong was a bigger name.
Yeah.
But now,
and even then it was a tie, like, technically. Yeah. So I don't know.
But now, fast forward all these years later, Godzilla is, like, when people think of monster movies, they think of Godzilla. They do not think of Kong.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you know what I mean? So, like, if you ask just a random person, like my father-in-law, that has just general knowledge of who Godzilla is and King Kong is.
Yeah.
I go, Dad, who would win, Godzilla or King Kong? He's like, oh, Godzilla. He's got fire. He just blows that thing. Missiles don't kill Godzilla, whatever. And he saw the original King Kong movie, so, like, airplanes killed him and stuff like that. So
fantastic King movie, by the way. But yeah.
You know what I mean? But then, like, if you ask, like, the hardcore fan, oh, well, you see, Kong, blah, 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 electricity from the sky, blah, 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 shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know where they're going with this, and I'm cautiously optimistic about this movie, but I want Godzilla to win, but I have a feeling he's going to lose because they're contriving it, you know what I mean?
A little bit.
They're contriving it. Like, even like, oh, Kong's gonna have an axe. How the hell can he have it? So what's the point of making Kong as big as Godzilla? Like, if you're gonna give Kong a weapon, to keep him half the size of Godzilla, it would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, Kong has to use his agility to try and stay away from Godzilla, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that would be really cool to see.
Make it a close fight where King Kong could almost beat Godzilla because of his wit or whatever, you know what I mean? But ultimately, Godzilla's brute force and his durability is just too much for him. King Kong can get injured, Godzilla can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, man. I just don't see where this movie is gonna go, and I have a feeling like
I think they're probably gonna
if they see Godzilla lose, I'll be pissed off. You know what I mean? I'll be pissed off, but I'll be like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just a movie. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I love Kong. You know what I mean? But, like, so one's got to lose. You know what I mean? I would pick Kong to lose, but I don't want Godzilla to give Kong an absolute kicking, and I don't want Kong to give an absolute kicking to Godzilla either, because I love these both characters. You know what I mean? But I just want it to make sense. Just give us a standard Godzilla and a standard Kong. Go. You know what I mean? No weapons, no contrivances or nothing. Just go. As you know what I mean? But I don't know. We're not going to get that. So
maybe at the end there'll be a Martha moment and they'll team up against somebody else or something.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I honestly see this movie being the last of the MonsterVerse.
So far, it looks to be that way because Toho is probably going to step in with their line of films, which I'm really curious what they're going to do.
Yeah, but, and, like, let's say, like, they take Godzilla out of the picture from the MonsterVerse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, now the whole MonsterVerse goes to waste because Godzilla is the franchise, is the flagship character. Now they're going to carry it on with King Kong. it's not going to be as interesting. Let's say that Godzilla doesn't die, because I remember like one of the stipulations that Toho put on Legendary is that Godzilla cannot die in his movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, so Godzilla will be in the background. We know that Godzilla's still alive, but the monster universe will continue without Godzilla. Now they could always potentially bring Godzilla back, but it just won't be that. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just lose interest in the MonsterVerse. You know what I mean?
I would also, but unless they bring Jet Jaguar in to take the helm or something like that. But I doubt that's gonna happen.
I don't know where this movie's gonna go, man. I mean, I just don't. You know, Mecha Godzilla and things like. I asked my wife, like, what do you think of a giant robot Godzilla in the next movie? She's like, what? You know, so.
But that's like people's reactions to so many things that us Godzilla fans love. So I'd rather it go in that direction and like actually try to make that and do that faithfully than it try to be too dry just to appeal to the mainstream audience.
Yeah.
But, all I really care about at this point is just I want the film to be interesting, to be enjoyable as a movie, and not to piss me off. That's about it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Like, the thing, though, is, like, if Godzilla 2014 was the last in that movie, like, let's say King of the Monsters was the last one in that movie, fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they would make a new universe, like the Pacific Rim universe, because the Pacific Rim universe it's a very fantastical universe and stuff like that. Then they could bring in all these other characters from the Toho universe and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because we know that this is not our universe. You know what I mean? This is not like the Pacific Rim universe was never set up to be the real, a hyper realistic universe. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? But Godzilla 2014 was, and then it just, it's just going really far away from that core, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Jacob?
What do I think? I've mixed feelings on it. Mainly, like, I wish that the more realistic take would have worked better, if that makes sense. Because personally, like, for me, 2014 is one of my least liked films. Not necessarily because of that direction, it's more just because I got fed up of looking at Soldier Dude and how they killed off Bryan Cranston's character. But I think,
that movie has its problems, you know what I mean? But
but I liked that grounded approach and the tone of it. However, King of the Monsters came along and to me blew that film so far out of the water that honestly I don't really mind them taking those fantastical elements. As long as they're done well, I think they can do anything, but it's got to be done well. Because
the execution matters. Yeah.
These films are taking tribute from the schlockiest of schlock from the 60s and 70s from Japan. Films that I absolutely adore, and I am totally open to them like doing some of that in these films, as long as it's done well. Like I'm scared that it'll become something like Pacific Rim 2, where they throw in that same schlock, but you can tell that competent people aren't working on it. Whereas like Guillermo del Toro, you could tell he was a person who loved these movies, but was a competent man at the helm of this thing. So it really, it's like you can do anything, but it depends on how it's done.
I still love watching that first Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why it didn't succeed. That it could have succeeded.
I
don't know, man. I don't know what was wrong with that.
The same thing. It's like for whatever reason, Godzilla fans or like tokusatsu kaiju fans either absolutely, they're fans and they absolutely love this stuff, or they're just normie people that don't get it. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I want to kind of see what it is specifically about this stuff that, all these different people see in this franchise. Because personally, for whatever reason, I'm a hardcore Godzilla fan. I don't even know how to describe why specifically I'm a Godzilla fan.
Yeah, because like if you look at the behind the scenes of the first Pacific Rim, holy shit, lots. there was a lot of practicality in that
There
movie. Like
was,
the
yeah.
whole, like the whole Jaeger head and stuff like that. That's actual, like they're
Mm-hmm.
in that thing. Like they built this thing, and like when the little girl is running through the streets when she's having that flashback,
It's probably my
and like
favorite scene from the
it's
film.
actually like the whole thing is shaking from the steps of the monsters. That's
Yeah.
an actual stage that they built and stuff like that. So like that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible. They built this. You know what I mean? It's all practical. You know what I
And
mean?
you
Like
were
that's
talking about lighting earlier, and like the Hong Kong
yeah.
scene between Gypsy Danger and Otachi is so
That's
beautifully
that's
lit. It really
beautiful.
reminds me
Yes.
of your photography because it's so colorful
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
engaging. Yeah,
I actually took cues from that.
I could tell. It's just,
Yeah. I took
yeah,
cues from that, man.
not
Yeah. So
surprised.
yeah. Yeah, buddy. So I don't know, man. We'll just have to see what happens in May. You
We'll
know,
have
and
to, yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic and stuff. And oh, you know what? We haven't talked about toys,
Toys?
about the SH Monster Arts.
Oh yeah.
Um,
What do you want to?
the new announce. You know, oh, we did talk about it, but we just briefly glanced
We
by
jump
it.
from
That
topic
was
to
their plan
topic,
B.
yeah.
That was their plan B. The Radiant Godzilla 2002 and Biolante and the
Yeah.
Blue. That was their plan B. You know what I mean? Because
Uh,
we should be getting, if it wasn't for this pandemic, we should be getting Godzilla versus Kong figures,
we
but we're not.
should, and I hope
Yeah,
we do, because we're not getting any decent Kong figures from like this series, because Kong has all this legal issues around it. It's really
yeah,
kind of annoying as first toy collectors.
yeah. And like NECA is not doing anything now for a while. You know what I
Yeah, which
mean?
sucks. But
That sucks, man. It really sucks. So so this was their plan B. I had a feeling they were going to do repaints. You know what I mean? So
yeah, unfortunately.
like I don't know what it is. I mean, it's such a slow crawl for them to. Here's the thing, NECA, they listen to their fans on Facebook. Like I share my toy photography with NECA and stuff like that. You know, whenever I do a shot with their NECA Godzillas or whatever, and I get a response back from them.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
thank you, it's
awesome.
so awesome, blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, they listen to their fans. There is some kind of connection. You
Or
know
at
what I
least
mean?
the one intern they have doing their social media listens to the fans.
Yeah,
We'll
you know what I
see.
mean.
But yeah.
So there's more communication there between NECA and the fans than Bandai and the fans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, man, I mean, like how many repaints have we gotten? You know what I mean? And there's still so many other Godzilla characters
Yeah.
that we want. You know what I mean? Like the '74 Godzilla, freaking
Oh,
'84
absolutely. I want a
Godzilla.
Megalon figure.
Yeah, like Jesus Murphy. I mean, it's been it's been so long now, and it's just been a slow crawl, and like they just keep giving us
Yeah.
repaints most of the time and stuff like that. It's
To
like,
play devil's advocate, though, to engineer a figure the way that Monster Arts do is a freaking art form.
oh yeah,
That's just the one credit I'll give them, not to mention, like, the sculpts, especially by Yuji Sakai.
mm,
That's just, like, to me, it's worth the wait.
yes,
But, like, there are definitely so many kaijus out there and different actual things that we've been waiting for, and it's, they keep throwing out repaints, and it's a bit annoying.
it is
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah, so
I do like their repaints, but
mhm.
it's whenever you get a repaint, it's hard to really get overly excited about it. There's just something about a new sculpt that makes all the difference, I think.
Yeah, man. But in terms of like favorite figure, do you have a favorite figure?
My favorite figure that it's actually really hard to say. Probably my favorite one that I have in my collection would probably be my X Plus 1964, the Godzilla vs. Mothra figure.
Mm.
That one I was trying to get for a long time. I also wanted to ask you about favorite figure and like a favorite Holy Grail figure that you're still looking for. For me, it would be the Kyoto or Kyoto, however it's pronounced. The Hideaki Anno produced Shin Godzilla figure that they basically is just a recreation of like the actual maquette little that they used to
Oh
make in
yeah.
the film. It's a huge
Mm.
figure, costs thousands of dollars, and I really freaking want that thing.
Is it the one where it's like this and he's like roaring like that? Like it's gigantic, that one?
No, he's like in a neutral pose,
Uh-huh.
and it's the same size as the gigantic, but it's extremely movie accurate. And
But my buddy in that toy shop, he's got, I don't know if you've seen a glimpse of it, he's got the Kyoto Godzilla 89, you know what I mean? And it's just
okay,
huge. It's gigantic, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And that costs like, oh, jeez. Dude, I've been enjoying this conversation so much that we've like gone over time.
I think we have. Yeah, we should about
Yeah,
wrap it up after this segment, probably.
yeah, yeah. But we got to do this again, actually.
Oh,
I
I'd
really
love to.
enjoyed it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it's been a
yeah.
pleasure.
So, but getting back to the figures, yeah, like
Yeah,
that big, huge Kyoto, that's like $1,000, $2,000, right?
yeah.
And
If you're lucky.
yeah, but my holy grail figure is a human-sized Godzilla 91. Do you remember that?
Yes. Wasn't that also a Yuji Sakai figure?
Yes, 3D printed. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But like Sakai putting like the details and stuff
Yeah.
like that. A human-sized Godzilla. I mean, I looked at like when this first was announced. I looked it up how much this would be. This would be like fucking a $40,000
Yeah.
Godzilla. Like
Jeez.
you would be better off buying a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's clearly for like the one percenters. You know what I mean? And
Exactly. I
I'm just
wonder if
not there.
any of those sold.
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
So until I become part of the 1% class, that figure will continue to be far out of my reach.
Yeah,
You know. So,
unfortunately.
but in terms of like my figures that I have, I
Yeah, what's your
love this
favorite?
guy.
Yeah?
And I've got the Gigantic Series Godzilla 2019. I still have to pay it off, but it's
Oh, wow.
mine. You know what I mean?
Nice.
But in my opinion, the greatest articulated Godzilla figure,
Uh-huh.
this guy right here.
Yeah, that
Okay.
one's really good, actually.
Now this is customized. Okay, I customized it. I'm buying another one. This is
Nice.
the NECA Godzilla 2014 12-inch tall
Yeah.
with the where is it? Right here.
The sound on my one's broken. I didn't even like break it.
Oh,
It just
no way.
aged. But
Yeah, if you notice, this is repainted. Look
yeah,
at
I
that.
did. He's
Yeah,
coming out a bit blurry, but I've seen him plenty of times in your other
yeah.
videos and
So
photography.
I'm gonna buy another one of this guy, and have it repainted too. But I'm not gonna do anything with the dorsal plates. I just want to
Okay.
keep it natural. You know what I mean? But this, like I've told NECA, like this is the greatest articulated Godzilla figure any company has ever made.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. I mean, you can put this up on your shelf, and like people, like from across the room, you can tell that this is a Godzilla figure
Mm-hmm.
more than the SH Monsters, which are tiny 6-inch
Yeah.
figures. You know what I mean? And you know what? Like this for me is the ideal size of a Godzilla
Yeah,
figure.
like 30
Should be.
centimeters tall is beautiful as for figures.
Yeah, I mean, you can get you can get good detailing in the sculpt and things, you know, and like articulation is nice and stuff, and like for toy photography, this would be a dream. This is a
Yeah.
dream, you know what I mean? Like if they made every Godzilla figure this size, oh my god, I'd lose it, man.
Yeah,
I'd lose
I
it.
was so
Like
sad
I told
when NECA didn't release a 2019 variant because just it would be so perfect.
I thought they were gonna make a 2019 version of this guy. You know what I mean? And then to come to find out, oh, we're not doing it. It's like, what? That's such lost potential.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's
could you reuse 90% of the molds? Just change the
Yeah.
spines, the feet, and the tail a little bit.
Change the feet, and that's it. You know what I mean? And like, but one thing from the NECA, like this one, like you can move his neck. The NECA, the new one, you can't because like I hate that. I wasn't too impressed with the sculpt. Like overall, it looked nice, but like when it came to the articulation,
I didn't even notice that bit.
yeah, no, look at this. Like, look, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that, But with the new NECA 2019, like the way that it's connect, like you just don't have that mobility anymore.
Oh,
You know.
okay.
So I don't know,
Funny you
man.
bring up that figure. I was literally in a store yesterday looking at because they just happen to have one. Strangely
Mm,
enough, because we barely get any figures here in
yeah.
stores, but they just happen to have one. And for like the past couple of weeks, I've been coming back to the store just thinking, should I get another one to customize it? Because I'm not a huge fan of like the 2014 design, but the way they updated it for the 2019 one, I absolutely adore. So I
Mm,
really want that figure because it's such a well-made
yeah.
figure in that style like you got there.
Yeah, I mean, I made the dorsal fins a little bit bigger than
Yeah.
normal, but I like this look. You know what I
No, it
mean?
looks
Because
great. So I've
it's
been
better
wanting
to
to
have.
do that, but it's just
Yeah,
again time and like I don't know if I'll devote the time to it and
yeah.
but I
Like I'd
probably
rather
will
have a
at some
Godzilla with
point.
two dorsal fins that are too big than too small.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
like that was one of the problems with the Godzilla '84, the NECA one, the first one. You know what I mean?
I have a
Like,
lot of issues with that figure.
yeah. But the new one's okay. It's better, but still, I
Yeah,
still
the
feel.
spines on it at least look really nice from what I've
Yeah, they
seen.
look nice, but I still feel they're a little still undersized. You know what I mean?
I have
So
more issues with that one. The 84 design is really unique. He's got this sort of this level of derpiness and this level of
mm,
like badassness that's
yeah,
so difficult to balance
mm,
that yeah. Plus NECA kind of fucked up his feet and some of his proportions in that figure. And personally, that would be my least favorite figure I own because I own the
oh, yeah,
original version of that with the bad spines and everything.
uh,
But
yeah,
but then the new I would get the new one just for the box if I could find that as well.
yeah. I have that one. Like it's sitting
Yeah,
up
I
there. I
saw
got the
your
white
video on
package
it.
up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
The boxes they're doing are spectacular on
oh
Nekaspan
man,
these
like it's
days.
part of the figure that I keep those boxes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah,
I keep every box I get if I can. I'm running out of space. Like
yeah.
no one's business, but
The
yeah.
box for this guy is nothing spectacular. I can't even
Nah.
have to get
Yeah.
rid of that guy. Yeah, that
I
box.
found most of the even the 2014 figures boxes and the all the King of the Monsters style boxes were quite underwhelming. They tried to make
Hmm.
everything uniform and this really sort of generic kind of pattern, and it wasn't nothing impressive. But the poster variants they're doing these days for some of the older figures are fantastic.
Yeah. Well, now that we got a special color Biollante, I mean, eventually they're gonna get around to doing like a whole bunch of special colored everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Special colored King Ghidorah 2019 and all that. You know what I mean? So like,
it'll be
geez.
finally gold.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If they
You
do
painted
come
yours,
out with
didn't you?
I painted mine,
Yeah.
but I want to do something with that one. I
Oh,
don't want.
okay.
I don't want to say anything,
No,
but
okay.
I am tempted to buy a second King Ghidorah, paint that one up, not with the gold,
Yeah.
actually to be more movie accurate. Okay,
Ah.
and then to do something special with the one that I
You'd have
have.
to resculpt that one's heads and necks to make it more movie accurate, to be honest. But
Well, not in terms of the sculpt, but in terms of the colors.
yeah, I
If you
just,
look at the Spiral Studios Godzilla, you know, that's big statue,
oh yeah, the
gigantic.
thing that no one can afford. Yeah,
Yeah, like I think that's pretty movie
it
accurate. You know what I
is.
mean? You look at the color and all that. I want it that way. I want my
Mm.
Kingdom to look like that. So I have all the pictures ready and stuff like that.
Good luck with that project.
Thank you, brother. Oh well, you'll be the first to know. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
great.
that's
Yeah.
pretty much it, buddy. So
I
yeah,
think we've been
we've
talking for a
gone
very long time.
yeah 3 hours now
Oh,
over.
has it? Oh, this is gonna be a pain to edit, but it's definitely worth it. Because I
Yeah.
have to rewatch everything and like edit it, so it takes about at least an hour longer than the watch time. So I'm gonna be busy this weekend.
Oh, okay, cool,
But
buddy. Well, good luck
definitely
with
worth it.
that.
Any
Thank you,
closing
brother. Thank you
thoughts?
so much, brother.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, man.
Uh,
Thank you for being
yeah,
on board. I hope to see you in a
yeah,
future episode because it really has been great.
yeah. It's been awesome. I mean, we can because we're in the similar time zone, so we can definitely do this
Yeah,
again easily. You know
definitely.
what I mean? So, yeah. But man, it's been great. Thank you, and guys, check, subscribe to Jacob's channel and stuff, my stuff too,
Thank you.
and things, and yeah, man, we'll be in touch. Okay.
We'll be in touch. And Yeah, so thank you everyone for watching. Like Harold said, subscribe to my channel and definitely subscribe to his. He's got some great stuff, and I'll have all the links to his various content below. Definitely check out his photography on his Instagram and stuff like that. So
Thanks,
Harold from the
buddy.
FigureMania Show, thank you so much for being on board. I'll hope to see you
Peace out.
again. Peace out, man.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye.